Hey guys, welcome back. Now I know most of you have tuned in looking for some more series on that nut. It ain't gonna happen. It'll be a cold day in July when that happens. Frankly, I could use a cold day. But I'm out here in the shop and I got all three air conditioners running, so it's not that bad. Today I'm going to take you through some little projects that have been on the back burner. I got to get some things lined up so we have some things to look at. First thing I'm going to show you is a saw I bought a couple years ago. It's been sitting outside under a tarp for all this time because I just don't have any place to put it. The wife has made me change my plans. This here is a bandsaw that I picked up. It's made by FMB, which is still a company over in Italy. Still makes these. You can buy one. And the neat thing about it is you can easily change angles and use it as a miter saw. Now, I don't know what that was supposed to look like in the beginning. It doesn't look too chewed up. We're going to have to go through this whole thing and see what works, what doesn't work. It's an Antares model. This company was formed in 1982. And I found this thing in Houston, Texas, about 2 years ago. They had stopped using it. They assured me that it worked when they took it out of service. But I think it's been rode hard and put up wet. Got a fast speed and a slow speed, it looks like. A switch for the pump. Then only God knows what those two switches are. It's got some modern electronics in it, or mechanicals. According to Don, those are the modern mechanical starters, and it looks like they use 3 single-phase ones to start the motors. Let's go through all this mess and check it out. Kind of rusty. It had already nice feet welded onto it that had holes in it, so I went over to Map Caster and bought some casters that this sucker can ride on. A hodgepodge of wires, and this here tells me that something on here they've converted to 110 volt, and I would bet that it's a pump for that tank right there. We're going to plug it all in and find out. Just got some rust down here. These are the drains that go down into that tank. I don't think, as Don would say, that's factory. But if it works, it works. Somebody has made some shop-made handles for it. That's kind of loose and worn. Of course, there's no band on it. Seems to go up and down nice and easy. And this is the good part, with another homemade handle. Anyway, clamp your material in there, and there should be a lock. I think that's it right there. Can pull that, lock it, and then turn it around, move it. Well, something's holding it. There's a fixed stop, so you can only go back to 90 degrees every time. Looks like this was added. Ever heard of a hinge? Got a grease cert right there. That feels pretty good, actually. Looks like it has a pump supplied coolant to each one of the roller bearings. Those are pretty good. That one's pretty good. That one's pretty good. We may have found a diamond in the rough. I think that band is a little bit off of zero there. It looks like this here is the mark. Zero's way over there. We'll have to check that out. Now what I do is around here, I have a bunch of pigtails. When I bring in a machine, those are the connections. I put a pigtail on it, so I can easily change the phase if I need to. And then I have an extension cord that'll plug in this. It goes over to a plug. So let me get that wired up and I'll bring you back. I was about ready to wire this up, but I found something that kind of stopped me. The green ground on this. Now this is an Italy made machine, so they use the European wiring colors. In Europe, yellow green is ground, but you can see how that's all hot. And then the black line doesn't look like it's been hooked up, whereas these two. Now these three lines should be the three-phase line, 1, 2, and 3, and that should be ground. But as you can see, they've changed all kinds of things here, and I don't know what's going where. So before I wire that up strictly the way it is, I want to see if I can find where that cable comes in and see if they didn't use that one for a line instead of ground. I hate working on things that these people just kind of throw together. Well, that's not the one I want. Okay, I found it. This wire is weird. It's grounded, then it's a single phase, got a black and a white. The black is going over here to that top on-off switch. Then they run it over here to this contactor, which then goes to that contactor, which you love it when they don't stick to the color code. Well, that wire right there is the power supply for the machine. It's coming over here and going into a ground, and then blue line 1, 2, and 3. So okay, it's safe to hook that up. I just need to strip back that bad insulation and we'll go from there. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna give you a warning. These old machines, you don't know what's happened to them. You don't know what somebody's jake-legged and cut corners on, and you got to be careful. Now, I'm a retired firefighter paramedic. Spent 17 years running around Houston on an ambulance. fire trucks and everything. I've picked up all kinds of sick people, injured people, dead people. You got to be careful with this stuff. If you do not know what you're doing, don't do it. You know, there's nothing worse than dying. Well, there are. Getting divorced is probably pretty good. But this stuff will kill you. 3-phase especially. 220 will kill you. I had the displeasure of going to a funeral for one of our firefighters who's working a second job as an electrician. He was crawling up in an attic and he was getting ready to work on an air conditioner. And there had been a thunderstorm. And the wire was going across one of the water pipes up in the attic. And he's crawling around in this short little hot attic. And he shorts that ground wire where it had been burnt by the heat from the electrical strike on the pipe together. And he died right there, withering in agony. And he knew what he was doing. It was just a freak thing. So, guys, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what L1, L2, and L3 are, call somebody that does. Like I said, these are the standard colors from Europe. This is ground and line 1, 2, and 3. Now these all carry electricity, and this is the neutral ground. Well, it's not a neutral ground, it's the ground. These are all hot licks. It's not like your house wiring where there's a neutral and I'm not even going to tell you what it's like. Except it'll bite you. All right. This is my pigtail. And the green is the ground, and then there's L1, 2, and 3 over here. Kind of excited to see this thing going to work. Now, on a 3-phase machine, it really doesn't matter, with some exceptions, which line you run to line 2 and 3. You turn on your machine and it's running backwards, you take any 2 wires and reverse them, and it should give you the correct phasing. Went to a restaurant up in College Station, Texas, the Cotton Patch. Man, for about 3 weeks, that was the smokiest building you've ever seen. So, I asked the people, what's going on with your vent fan? And the lady said, we got a new one. We don't understand why it's running. It's just not doing any removal. A little bit. Right there it told me. I said, you call your electrician and get him back here and suggest to him that it's running out of phase. He needs to switch the phase around by doing 2 wires. Sure enough, they did it. Got a free steak dinner out of that one. Okay, let me get the stuff ready and we'll turn it on and see what's going on. Before I forget though, one thing on phasing. Now I use rotary phase converters. I've got a 20 and a 10 horsepower here. And when you do control circuits and stuff like that, it's best to run the generated leg on something else, not the control circuits. So we'll have to check all that out when I figure out what's going on in here. Plugged in the three-phase line to the pigtail, and I went ahead and run an extension over to that 110 volt line so I could see if anything would operate when I plug that 110 in. And I found that this switch here is pulling in a contactor, and it's that one way down on the end. So why they're using that to pull in the contactor, I don't know, unless this switch isn't any good. I think they just bypassed everything real quick and got it going down and dirty. All right, so we know that contactor's pulling in, so it needs the 110 volt to be able to do that. So let's go start up the RPC and see if it blows up. I'm gonna go over there, you guys stay here and watch. See anything, run. That was not good. I plugged in my rotary phase converter and it wouldn't spin up plugged in. So let's turn that off and see if at least it'll spin up. I don't like that. We're going to unplug it. Well, with the three-phase unplugged, the rotary phase converter started up. So why is it pulling so much a load that my machine won't even start? Is this locked? No. Is that backfeeding somewhere? I don't have a wiring diagram, so I've got to figure out what's going on. Where are these wires going? Switch is working that. When I turn this one for the pump, doesn't seem to be doing anything, so I think they've got rid of that switch. And it's now that switch. But why would this thing take such a load that wouldn't even let my face control start? Remember that blue wire that was disconnected? I wonder why it was disconnected. You see, originally all these wires were in these cable races. Now they're all everywhere. I popped the top one off so I could see where that wire is coming in, and it comes directly into this. And let's see. It's got the green wire there and the green wire here. And they're both going into these. And they're going down to that. I need Don here. He's better at this stuff than me. So, remember I told you if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it? This is one of those times.